Hello, and welcome to another one of my vlogs. As you probably know, England was placed into its third coronavirus lockdown on the 6th of January, and that means that we are required to stay at home, except we are allowed to go out for essential shopping, for example food, to go to work if not able to work from home, to obtain medical assistance or to provide it in the form of caring for someone, or for a single period of exercise on a daily basis. The good thing about the exercise is it's for an unlimited duration. The bad thing is though, it must be local, and in this case they've defined local as being your village, your town, or your district of a city. In my case, I live in Billingham. Although somewhat more restrictive, there is still some doubt as to exactly what the town would be. For Billingham, you could say it was the limit of the houses around the external part of the town. However, the town council has several wards, and I think that it's justifiable to say that if you stay within the boundaries of those wards, that you are still staying local. The Billingham Town Council boundaries effectively form a triangle, with it being approximately 8 kilometres from the west to the east and approximately 6 kilometres from the north to the south. With such a restricted area and the weather, which has been atrocious and been ice and snow for the last week or so, what do you do during that time? In my case, I've been thinking about what rides I can do in this area, and as I mentioned in my last vlog, I like to do rides of at least 100 kilometres. So would there be any possibility of doing a 100 kilometre ride within the Billingham Town Council boundaries? Well, maybe there would be, but since that would be a challenge ride, there has to be some rules. I'm not allowed to use cul-de-sacs just to go into and out of to increase the distance. In other words, I've got to use through routes. Secondly, I can only use a road twice as long as I am going in different directions in each of those journeys. Thirdly, if I want to go out and back on a through road, then the turnaround must be at a roundabout. With these rules in mind, I've sat for a while and pondered, and finally I've managed to do it. I've come up with this route. So all there's left to do is to go out and ride it. These are typical of the seats trains I'm going to be seeing most of today. But on occasions I'll be getting out into the countryside. I've just crossed the A19 and we're out into open farmland already. It's great to see green fields after being cooped up in a house for so long. We'll go down here and turn right along and making our way into Openstreet village. Coming back into Billingham again now. Having to take it easy this morning because the temperature's only 2°C and there's still some black ice around. We're back onto more estate roads now. I think I've got the next 25k just like this. I hope you can see the tribute to the NHS staff that was put up during the first lockdown. Stood the test of time. It's not been vandalised at all. Just about to turn into Marshhouse Avenue, one of the main arteries into Billingham. The playing fields across the road would normally be hosting 4 or 5 Sunday League matches, but during the COVID crisis those have all been cancelled. I'm just turning off Marshhouse Avenue back into the estates, and I'll stop round here as there's something quite interesting ahead. Think back to your chemistry classes in school. You used to get to play with molecular models. This one has one large atom, with 3 small atoms around it. Maybe you could take a guess at what compound this is. I'll let you know sometime as we go round. These both look as if they were finials from a gate post on the ICI Chemicals works, which is close by. Neither myself nor the local councillors have any idea how they landed up here. I have been trying to persuade the local councillors to use these as some decorations on a roundabout entering Billingham, but so far I haven't had much luck. Leaving the built up area of Billingham and now going to be heading eastward, turning left just after the cemetery out to Cowtonbewley Woodland Park and turn right onto Seal Sands Road, and we'll get right out into the country there for a little while. There's quite a view from the bridge this morning. Straight ahead is the dioxide plant that we passed on a previous vlog, and coming round you can just see the tops of the chemical works at Seal Sands before then seeing the chemical works at what was ICI's aromatics plant, but now is host to a number of companies. On the other side of the road are the Cleveland Hills. You can see Rosebery Top in there, and also the Transporter Bridge, which we'll be visiting shortly. RSPB Wildlife Reserve is just coming up here on the right. Because of the COVID lockdown, the car park and the walks are open, but the visitor centre and the hides are currently closed. You can see the 2 lagoons on either side of the road. This is the entrance to ICI's aromatics works as it was, or North Tees as it's now called, and it's the furthest point away from my house. As the crow flies, it's 6.5 kilometres, or almost 4 miles. I've come along to the transporter just for a break and to update you on the situation with the repairs. I brought you to the transporter bridge in my first vlog, and I mentioned at the time that there was some corrosion on the rails that the gondola runs on that was preventing it from being operated. Well, there's been some development since then. Middlesbrough Council has approved the spending of £700,000 to make the structure safe. That's not to get the gondola running, but just to stop pieces falling off the structure. However, there will be a consultation early in the new year, and they will be asking people whether they think it should be just made into a tourist attraction or if it should be restored to full working order. The latter would cost £7 million apparently, although I suspect that's on the low side. So if you get a chance to air your views in the consultation, please give them your considered opinion of what should be done with the transporter bridge. Maybe it could be a tourist attraction and run only for foot traffic on certain days of the week or month. Anyway, it will be interesting to see what happens once the consultation period is over. I completed 40 kilometres to get to the transporter bridge, so there's only 60 to go. Back towards the main town of Billingham now, through Port Clarence. This is the first section of road that I'm doing, which is a straight out and back, turning at a roundabout. Just having to put on a couple of kilometres to make sure I get the 100k total for the ride. The plant you see across to my right is the protein plant that produces the basic raw material for corn. On the other side of the road is the power from waste plant, where all the local waste is taken and incinerated and the electricity is made from the steam generated. The protein plant has recently been extended. This section on the right hand end has just recently been built, but not yet commissioned. Ahead of us is Billingham Town Football Club ground, another club that's not able to play matches at the moment. but hopefully they'll survive the pandemic and be able to play later in the year. I've just come into the Bellis's Business Park just to ride round the quiet roads here. Behind the building you can see ahead, there are a couple of lakes which are open for people to walk around. Just soil paths, so they'll be a bit muddy at the moment. But if you want to have a walkabout, you could come up here just off Bellis's Avenue, and at the roundabout here, when you come in, turn right, that looks straight ahead the way we're looking at it, and go along there and take the first left, and you'll come to a dead end where you can park the car and just have a walk around the lakes. We're back off into Billingham. This was the site of ICI Agriculture Division where I started work. If we look behind me, the plant at the centre of the picture, just under the sun, is the Ammonia 4 plant. It produces ammonia for making fertilisers, which ammonium nitrate was ICI's top seller. If you remember the molecular models that we saw earlier in the ride, which contained one large atom and 3 small atoms, then these were models of ammonia, NH3. I mentioned in my last video that I started work for ICI in the research department. The buildings behind were the research department. The low-level building at the front was the library. Of the 3 towers behind, my office and labs were in the centre one, now operated by Johnson Matthey. The one to the left is now operated by Fujifilm. We're back into the estate streets again, and it'll be like this for about the next 10k. We'll be up and down these streets like a fiddler's elbow. Across the dual carriageway at the bottom of the hill is the Billingham Ecology Park, where there's not many facilities, but you can just walk around the area, again on earthenware track. But we're going to turn back up the hill and into Billingham for another little circle round. And up we go. We're going to leave the built up area again for a little while. We'll turn down onto the cycle path alongside the A19 to go down to Portrack and the south end of the Billingham Town Council boundary again. My apologies for leaving you on the handlebar for most of this ride. But even though it's supposed to get up to 4 or 5 degrees, I'm still managing to find patches of black ice wherever I go into the shadowed areas. The A19's a lot quieter than it normally is, but there's still a lot of traffic on the road. Not everybody stayed at home as I requested. Approaching the Portrack roundabout, we'll be continuing round to the left and continue on the cycle path alongside Haverton Hill Road. I've left the cycle path alongside Haverton Hill Road, where it becomes particularly rough to do the second out and back, turning at a roundabout. Returning from the roundabout, we turn right at the traffic light at what's known as Oxygen Corner. This was the site of a now demolished plant that made liquid oxygen for the industries around. We're now approaching the railway crossing, and you might have been able to see the signal box there. Won't be there much longer. It's going to be demolished in the next month or so. even though everybody fought to keep it. Now we're on another series of up and down the estate roads, putting the mileage in. We're running round the north side of Billingham now, just going to turn left at the roundabout and make our way back up to Openstreet, come back in the same way we went out. Just passing the Wilson duck pond on the right. Was frozen this morning when I came past, still frozen at 2 p.m. So as we come back from Wilson into the top end of Billingham in my estate, we say farewell to the green fields and the feeling of being in the open. We'll be back into the built up area shortly. Let's hope the weather improves a bit and we can get out a bit more. The last few shots of the built up areas. That's my main memory of today. Back home now. Thoroughly enjoyed the ride, even though my legs do feel it. We just proved that it's quite easy to do quite a large distance. 100 kilometres, just over I did, in a very small radius. I think I've been up just about every road in every estate in Billingham. Hope you enjoyed the ride and weren't too put off by the fact that the camera was always on the handlebars. I hear there's a bit of a controversy about our leader Boris Johnson having cycled 7 miles from home. Maybe we'll get some new guidance on what local means in the near future, and hopefully we'll be able to go a bit further. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. Until we meet again, bye for now, stay safe.